Coming up on the Suze Orman Show. What happens when couples do not communicate about money? You're going to see it tonight.
My fiance just told me about his debt, and we're getting married in about 2 weeks.
What made him tell you 2 weeks before you were supposed to get married?
I actually asked him. I knew he had some student loans, but he hadn't really talked about it, so I finally just asked him,
Let's talk. And you asked me, can I afford it?
I want to buy a cotton candy machine.
Why do you want this?
Well, it's kind of strange. Cotton candy is part of my family history.
Did your grandfather invent it? Hi, everybody. I'm Suze Orman, and you are watching the Suze Orman Show. Tonight, it's all about, you're going to hear it all night long, about couples and communication. Are you talking about money with one another? Are you communicating with it? Because if you are not, then you are heading for financial ruination, so to speak, when it comes to a relationship. It is so incredibly, vitally important that you and your partner, you and your spouse, you and your family communicate about money. Especially if you are a couple that's moving in together, living together, sharing money, paying bills together. You can't hold out on each other. If you have credit card debt, tell the other half. If you have student loan debt, tell the other person. If you aren't good with money, talk about it. But you're not communicating. And then what happens when you don't communicate is one person is thinking one thing, the other person is thinking another thing, and whether you know it or not, you are actually separating what could be a great relationship in every other respect. It is being separated because of money. Please don't let that happen. Here's what I want you to do, because you're going to see as you hear tonight, you're going to hear how not communicating is destroying relationships. It can happen to you. So here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow on Sunday, I want you to take this day, not only tomorrow, but every single Sunday from now on. I want you to make this the day that you talk to your partner, your spouse, whatever it is, about money. If you haven't told them how much credit card debt you have, you're going to tell them tomorrow. If you're hiding anything about your finances, you are going to tell them tomorrow. You are going to start tomorrow communicating as a couple. And if you can't do that, if you can't easily sit down and talk with one another about money, something then is wrong with your relationship, period. Do you hear me? Money is just an object that is saying to you something is really wrong with how you feel about each other, or how you feel about yourself in this relationship. So tomorrow, we are going to start communicating as a couple. Do you hear me? You better. Let's go to Louisiana. Bethany, ask me your question.
Hi, Susie. Thank you so much for taking my call. My fiance just told me about his debt. He has about $40,000 in credit card debt and about $30,000 in student loans, and we're getting married in about 2 weeks. Really? Yeah.
Sorry.
That was
I
a
thought you were
shocker.
going to say we're getting married in like 2 months. We're getting married maybe in 2 years. But in 2 weeks, 2 weeks before you're about to say, I do, he tells you about what he doesn't have. He's got no money. He's telling you he has debt. How did that make you feel?
I was floored. I really didn't know what to say, and I want to make sure I'm protected for the future. I don't have a whole lot of assets. I'm still young, but I want to make sure that I don't have damaged credit or.
Bethany, what made him tell you 2 weeks before you were supposed to get married?
I actually asked him. I knew he had some student loans, but he hadn't really talked about it, so I finally just asked him,
Let's talk. Can we just talk, you and me? Just you and me.
Sure.
If you hadn't asked him, he never would have told you, yes or no?
He said that he wanted to tell me. He just was really embarrassed.
Doesn't matter. If you hadn't asked him, he would not have told you, correct?
I believe.
All right, so you believe that. How long have you been going out with him?
We've been together for almost 2 years.
So for 2 full years, he did not happen to tell you that here's his debt. He's got almost $70,000 of debt. And he didn't tell you at all during those 2 years. Did you see him leave big tips? Did he give you gifts? Did he buy himself clothes? Did he exhibit any type of behavior that made you feel like this is a man who has his act together?
He didn't really, he wasn't extravagant,
But he spent money that maybe you shouldn't have spent, correct? Knowing this. Now, now that he's told you that, do you feel different about him? You be honest with me. You be honest with me.
Well, it definitely changes my plan.
So you're still going to get married to him in 2 weeks?
Yes, it's just I'm not looking forward to,
All right, but wait a minute. Are you getting married? Do you hear the hesitation in your voice? If you could, would you say to them, we're going to be postponing this for a little bit? If you weren't embarrassed to do so, would you?
No, I'd still go with it. I'd still.
Kind of? Yeah. Hear yourself? I'm still young. It wasn't, you betcha I would still marry him, Susie. You betcha I would go for it. Do you hear your voice is saying one thing different than what your words are saying? Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Maybe.
Maybe. Bethany, I want you to listen to me. Marriage is a very, very serious legal obligation. It should not be done just simply because a date was set. It should be done because your heart and his heart or her heart or whatever heart it is has become one. You have been honest with each other. You haven't surprised one another. You haven't been embarrassed to tell each other something, but you have come together as one. I refuse to believe that you think finding out 2 weeks before you were going to get married only because you asked him. He didn't tell you because you asked him that your heart feels the exact same way as it did prior to him telling you that. You can go ahead and do this, but I'm here to tell you this is a warning sign that maybe you should just think a little bit about this before you go ahead with this legal obligation. After you have gotten married, everything that he does with money will most likely be your responsibility as well. If he hid this from you for 2 years, don't be surprised if he hides more from you after you have said, I do. Let's go to Illinois. Ann, you're on the Suze Orman Show.
Hi, Susie. I'm hoping you can help me with my dilemma.
Let's hope.
My job has become so stressful that I no longer enjoy it, but yet it does bring in a nice paycheck. I've been unhappy for some time and want to quit. My husband and I can pay the bills on his income alone, but there would be little money for our savings and putting away for our retirement. My husband says he will support my decision, but it does cause worry for both of us. I feel absolutely sick over not knowing what to do. Are there any suggestions you have for helping me make my decision?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Ann. We feel like work and our paycheck that's paying these bills are so stressful. Want to know what's really stressful? What's really stressful is when you no longer have that job, you no longer have that paycheck coming in, and now you don't have the money to put away for retirement, you don't have the money to save, you don't have the ability possibly to get another job as quick as you thought you were going to be able to, or be paid what you were going to, and then you start feeling a whole different type of stress. Whenever I hear somebody say that their job is stressful at work, I'm wondering what makes it stressful, because you, Ann, you have the ability to take whatever's happening at work and think about it in a different way so it's not stressful anymore. You can change that within yourself easier than it is not dealing with it, and now your husband's going to have to support you, and then he freaks out, and then you have stress, and then it shows up all over the place. Why is it so stressful?
I guess because I put a lot of pressure on myself at my job.
All right, so if it's not coming from your job and it's coming from you, just lighten up on yourself, girlfriend. Katie in Minnesota. Girlfriend, go for it.
Hi, how are you, Susie?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
Good. I just have a quick question for you.
Go for it.
So I'm single and I'm 24 years old and I don't have any dependents. I own my own home and I'm the only person responsible for my mortgage. If something should happen to me, is there any way my parents could be burdened with my mortgage even though they haven't co-signed on their loan?
So do you have a will?
No.
Do you have a trust?
No.
So you're concerned about this burden of who's going to pay your mortgage.
Yep, just my mortgage payment.
But everything else, but you're not concerned as to who's going to get these assets if you die. Will it be your brother, your sister, your parents? That's why it's important that you at least have a will. I always like everybody to have a living revocable trust as well. What will happen is you die, this house goes to somebody. If they don't want to keep it, if whatever, they then just sell it and there you go. Is there equity in this house?
A little bit.
A little bit. So chances are if they take this house over and you have any money, maybe it continues to be paid out of your estate, but they'll just sell the house and that will be that. But will they be financially burdened and have to pay your mortgage? Nope, they won't, especially if they decide they don't want the house at all. So when it comes to expenses about kids, you should be paying equally with Ryan for the kids. However, oh, look at your face. And later, in wanting something, can I afford it?
I'm supposed to be on a yarn diet this year, but I really, really, really want to buy a one-year membership to a yarn club.
Knit me something, just a little something. Welcome back, everybody. So here is the question. Are you ready? What should your financial responsibility be when you marry somebody who already has children? That's the heart of the question for my one-on-one tonight, Amisha. Amisha is 30 and an English professor. She's engaged to Ryan. He's a director at a bank. Now, Ryan has primary custody of his children who are 9 and 11 years old. He also has almost $140,000 of student loan and personal debt. Here's the problem. Amisha and Ryan are not seeing eye to eye on what her financial contribution to their life should be. So Amisha, welcome to the Suze Orman Show. By the way, everybody, Ryan wasn't comfortable being on camera, but he is joining us on the phone. Ryan, are you with us?
I'm here.
There you go, boyfriend. All right, so Amisha, welcome. You wrote in. Tell everybody exactly what the issue is.
Hi, Susie. Thanks so much for having me. What I wrote in about is the fact that I've been engaged for 2 years to my wonderful partner, Ryan, and he's great in terms of his generosity. If he would use his last penny to help me if I needed something. But as I've learned more about his financial past, I'm finding out that there are certain things on his plate that we get to take care of. And between helping to take care of the children and seeing what some of his financial past is, I'm confused about the way that I get to contribute so that our lives are balanced.
And so when you're saying that, when you met Ryan, were you aware of the fact that he had $140,000 of personal debt? $121,000 of it is student loan debt. $75,000 of that $121,000 he is in default. So he hasn't been paying it. The other is a personal loan. Were you aware of this when you got together with him?
Pretty early on, he told me about his debt from school.
And just for everybody to understand a little bit about Ryan, in fact, Ryan, I'll let you tell this part of the story. What did you go through to get custody of your children? Tell everybody about it, Ryan.
Well, it was a harrowing adventure. I had to, it was my last year of school, graduate school, and the children left for a brief period and didn't return across the country, and I had to quit my my internships and the jobs that I had secured and drop everything and move across the country to a smaller city in the Southeast, in which case it took me 2 years to recover balance in the situation and get the blessing of the courts to move back west.
And during that time when you did that, Ryan, didn't it cost you about $100,000 to get these kids back?
At least.
At least. So part of the financial situation that you're in is because you loved your children so much. You loved them so much that you were willing to do anything to have them back. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
All right, so just sit there with me for a second, Ryan. So, Amisha, when you met Ryan, you knew what he had done to get these kids back. You knew that these kids were more important to Ryan than money. You knew that these kids were Ryan's center of his universe, that he was their rock. You knew that about him, did you not?
I did.
You did. Now, the real conflict is this, everybody. Amisha has been the one staying at home this past year with the kids. Your plan was to go back to work, to become a teacher, to do certain things, and you want to know that the money that you're making, how much of that money should go to pay for the family, how much should it not, or should you take what you're making and just save it for yourself, and it should be Ryan's responsibility to pay for his kids, because they're his kids, really. That is the question, correct?
Correct. I'm definitely willing to contribute, though, so it's not that I'd want to put every penny away, but I just don't know how much can be a fair contribution
to it. Now,
right.
Ryan, when you hear Amisha say this, how does that make you feel?
Well, I have the same question, so it's difficult for me. It concerns me that we may not be in it together.
Yeah.
And that, down the road, at the same time, it's hard for me to say something like, Amisha, it's your responsibility to pay for the children or to pay for my school loans. But I do feel that I would like a real financial partnership, and I may not know what that looks like. My sense is that we share and would like to not only get on top of our financial situation, but invest in our future together and be able to do that where it's not just Ryan taking care of all of the survival needs and Amisha's finances going to her personal buffer.
Yeah, so here's the thing, is that I'm going to give you the solution financially speaking, but it's beyond the financial solution as to how you should both contribute to this. Amisha, I am sure that it is Ryan's dream that you would want to take care of these kids, because these kids are essentially about to become your children as well as years go on. So when it comes to expenses about kids in the situation that you and Ryan are in, Suze Orman personally believes you should be paying equally with Ryan for the kids. However, look at your face. Look at your face. Ryan, I wish you could see her face. What did you feel? Now, let me first ask Ryan. Ryan, when I just said that, number one, did that surprise you?
Yes.
Yeah, because you thought I was going to say, no, they're your kids. She does. Ryan, when you met Amisha, wasn't it your dream that if you two got together and you two got married, that she would look at these kids like they were going to be her kids?
Yes.
Yes, that was your dream. And that's not what's happening here, Amisha. That's not how you're seeing this. So it is very important.
I do see the children as my family, and I love them so much, and I contribute so much, and I have no reservation putting them first financially. I just don't see eye to eye with Ryan when it comes to how to manage money, and so that makes me pull away and say, well, if you don't want to plan in advance, then I guess I have to do it myself.
But that's not what you said originally. So you have to become very, very clear in your communication with Ryan as to if you don't care and you're willing to put these kids first and contributing to them totally financially, that is a different problem than what you asked me at the start of this interview tonight. So Ryan, you're going to have to start to become a vital part of this relationship where you pay bills together. You can never say to Amisha again, Amisha, I don't want to hear it. It's your problem. I'm doing the best I can. You have got to sit down together as a team that deals with this money as one. Are you willing to do that, Ryan?
Yes.
All right, Amisha, you say you can go out and get a job as a teacher and make at least $40,000 a year.
Yes.
If you were to do that, here's how it's going to work for you, all right? You are going to take all of your joint bills together minus what Ryan is paying for his student loan. And that's going to come to about, let's just say, $7,500 a month. Now, once you start working, your take-home, Amisha, will be $4,000 a month. Ryan's is $5,400 a month. I did the math, and you will each put 80% of your take-home into a joint account. That leaves $800 a month for Amisha to save, and Ryan's excess will have to go to his student loans. That is how you are going to split the money. Did that make sense to you, Amisha?
Yeah.
Did that make sense to you, Ryan?
Yes.
All right, but here is the problem, Amisha. If you're going to separate the money, there's something that's separating you from this relationship with Ryan and the kids that you need to think about seriously as to, is this the relationship for you? Because Ryan deserves a woman in his life that not only loves his kids emotionally, but wants to be part of this entire family unit, financially speaking as well. So Ryan, on this one, I'm on your side 100% with this boyfriend. Do you hear me?
I do. Amisha has been an amazing a part of my life, and I look forward to working this out with her.
So the two of you come together, Amisha, money for the kids, they're your kids. His student loan, let him pay for it itself, girlfriend. Got that?
I got it.
That's what you need to do. Up next, you can't afford to miss. Can I afford it?
I want to buy a cotton candy machine.
I would live for that cotton candy. Also,
Girlfriend, I want this 2012 Cadillac CTS Coupe. If you really kind of knew me, you know that the car is different and I'm different.
if I had more time, I would say, Bill, what makes you different? What do you want to buy?
Cotton candy machine. 1-year membership to a yarn club.
Family vacation to Australia.
The Can I Afford It segment. This is where you call in, you tell me what it is that you want to buy, and I tell you if you can afford it or not. Are you ready? Let's go. Bill, what do you want to buy?
Susie,
Bill!
I love your show. I love your show.
It always scares me when somebody by the name of Bill calls in, because Bill, you know, type of bills come in anyway. Boyfriend, what do you want to buy?
Well, girlfriend, I want this 2012 Cadillac CTS Coupe. It just screams my name, and if you really kind of knew me, you know that the car is different and I'm different.
If I had more time, I would say, Bill, what makes you different? But $70,000 for a car. $70,000 for a car. You better be able to show me that this car makes a serious financial difference in your life. Show me the money.
Okay, well, my income is $4,333 a month. I only have $814 of expenses. I have 2 homes that I own outright. One I plan to sell within the next 2 years and will probably net $750,000 to $800,000 cash. I have no debt, 0 debt, which you'll love that. My FICO score is over 800. And then in savings, I have probably $15,000 liquid cash, another $389,000 in investments, and about $69,000 in retirement.
And you're 57 years of age. How are you going to pay for this?
Cash.
Cash. So that's going to bring you down to about $300,000 in cash, correct?
Plus my home.
Plus your home. But again, look, Bill, you know and I know that you may want to sell your home, but maybe somebody isn't going to buy it for 2 or 3 or 4 years. Look at all the people now. I have so many friends who have their homes on the market for sale, and they've been for sale forever, and they still haven't sold. But here's the bottom line. You've worked hard. Things are good. Now, I don't have to like the looks of this car because I actually don't like it. But really, you have been denied. And the reason that you are denied, and Bill, you listen to me closely, you are in fantasy land here. $814 a month in expenses. You don't have, I looked through your expenses. You don't have anything for maintenance on this car, for gas. You didn't list anything for expenses at all. You have expenses, Bill. You're 57 years of age. You don't have enough money. You're currently on unemployment. You don't have enough money to generate the income. No way. You aren't doing it, boyfriend. Lindsay, what do you want to buy?
Susie!
Lindsay!
Oh my God, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Oh, good. What do you want to buy, Lindsay?
I want to buy a cotton candy machine.
Okay. Oh, God. I remember when I was young, and I would go to 95th and Stony Island, and this in Chicago, and I would live for that cotton candy, and then I would eat it, and it would melt in my mouth. And to this day, I love cotton candy. $600, girlfriend. Why do you want this?
Well, it's kind of strange. Cotton candy is part of my family history.
Did your grandfather invent it?
No.
Oh.
No, but my grandfather did always have cotton candy at family parties and family events. In his church, in his neighborhood, he was always known as the guy that would show up with the cotton candy machine.
So you want to be the one that rots the teeth of the kids in your neighborhood. Show me the money, girlfriend.
Okay, our income is $15,700, of which $1,600 is rental income.
Yeah.
We have expenses of $11,315 a month. Our debt, we've got $349K on a 30-year fixed at 4.63. $254K on another 30-year fixed at 4.88, $33K in student loans, $17K on a car loan at 0. Then in savings, we've got $24K liquid, $5K in investments, $99K in retirement, and that's it.
Denied.
Oh,
God. Can you believe it? It's only $600.
Yes.
You know why I denied you?
I'm guessing it's because we don't have 8 months worth of savings.
That's one of the reasons. You have all this other money that you owe. Here you are, you're 34 years of age. You don't have enough in savings, really. Everything's going wrong. Just wait for that cotton candy. Every penny counts, girlfriend. Every penny counts, and I'm counting every one of your pennies, and they do not stack up to a cotton candy machine for $600. Rita, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Rita.
I am a huge knitting and crochet addict, and I also collect a lot of yarn, and I have a huge stash, and I'm supposed to be on a yarn diet this year, but I really, really, really want to buy a one-year membership to a yarn club.
So I just have to ask, do you just buy yarn because you like yarn and just sits there and you don't do anything with it?
No, actually, you have a picture of something that I've done recently.
Oh, you know, I have to tell, that's very pretty. My granny used to knit. And the one thing to this day that I carry everywhere I go, like a house or I make sure it's safe and sound, is the actual blanket that she knitted for me. I love that more than anything I have ever gotten in my life. And every once in a while I take it out and I smell it to see if I can smell it. Well, anyway, show me the money.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
got it. Show me the money.
Okay, our income is $11,649 a month combined.
Yeah.
We have expenses of $7,522 a month.
Good.
We own our home outright.
Fabulous.
We have no debt.
Great.
We have $318,000 in liquid, $61,000 in investments, and $675,000 in retirement.
Approved. I'm just giving it out there. Approved. Of course you have the money to do this. You know, and knit me something, just a little something. Like a little beanie that I put on my head, just something. All right, I love your girlfriend. Will, what do you want to buy?
I want to buy a family vacation to Australia.
You want to go? I'm going there shortly to speak in Sydney and Melbourne, everybody. Watch for me. I'm coming in August. All right, so You want to go to Australia? $4,000. You want to take your family there? Show me the money.
Well, I have a combined income of $5,650 a month.
Yep.
My expenses come to $41.78 a month.
Great.
$13.75 of which goes to rent. I have $14K on a car loan at 6%. My savings, I have $14K in liquid and $18K in retirement.
And how are you going to pay for this?
Just some money that I've got set aside.
So you're going to set that money aside, and you're sitting there. So, but really, it's so you're going to. Why do you want to go?
Well, my daughter is 14 months old.
Yeah.
My family's never met her, never seen her, and it's more just for me to go home and see my family. I haven't seen them in a few years. So.
Yeah, I get that one. Will denied. This is a hard one for me to deny because I know that, in fact, you want to show your family your daughter, but Suze Orman wants to make sure that your daughter, God forbid something happens to you, that there's enough in an emergency fund, and we are seriously lacking. We will be, after you pay for this out of your money, you will be $22,000 short of the emergency fund. Save the emergency fund, do that, and that's what we need to do. Want to be part of the Can I Afford It segment? All you have to do is go to my website, SuzeOrman.com, and you will find the information that you need to know there to come and play with me right here. Next, I tackle trending topics in Ask Suze. The reason you take out a student loan is to pay for expenses while you're a student. If you don't need to take out a loan, don't do it. And later,
I want to give my teacher a $50 gift card for my saved allowance when she retires.
This is your money, is it not?
It is my money.
Welcome back to the control room here at CNBC headquarters, everybody. Want to contact me? So easy. Take a look at your screen. You can send in an email either to me at SuzeOrman.com, SuzeOrman.cnbc.com. Do it via Facebook. Do it via Twitter. If you do it via Twitter, make sure that you add hashtag AskSuze so it comes to us here. And if we pick it, I'll answer it just like I'm about to do right now. Let's see what's trending. All right, at Sherry D. Whatever. Now, I like that handle. All right, whatever, Sherry. Would it be wise to take out a subsidized student loan to establish credit and pay it in full after graduation? For those of you who don't know, a subsidized student loan is where you take out a loan to pay for your student costs. While you're paying for it or you have this loan out, you do not pay any interest on this loan. The government is subsidizing it for you. After graduation, however, 6 months to be exact after you've graduated, you have to start paying this money back, and at that time, interest starts to accrue. Listen, the reason you take out a student loan is to pay for expenses while you're a student. If you don't need to take out a loan, don't do it. Now, obviously, of course, you could take out this loan. Government is paying for it. It isn't costing you anything. You could take this money, put it in the bank, make a little bit of interest on it. But why take up money if you don't need it? And while you've taken it out, by the way, it's not going to help you on your credit. It helps you on your credit when you start to pay it back after graduation. And at that time, it's not going to be subsidized anymore. At that time, you're going to have to be paying interest on it. So no, don't do it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right, let's see what else is trending. At Wendy Girl, my BF got approved for a home. I'm wondering if I should be added on the title as part owner. I will be helping with payments. I don't think so. If your boyfriend, you didn't say your fiance, you didn't say your husband-to-be. What you said was your BF, your boyfriend. He's the one who qualified for this loan. Obviously, he's probably coming up with the down payment, and he's the one that's going to be responsible for it. Hey, if you want to put your name on the mortgage, okay, where you're responsible for it as well, and then have it on title, okay, I don't have a problem. But just to be on title but not be on the loan, no. Let it be his home. Let him pay for it. You have to be living somewhere anyway. You would be paying rent no matter what. So just consider the amount of money that you are paying with him or to him. the money that you would be paying for rent. But no, your name should not be on title at this point. All right, let's go to webcam. We have Melissa. She's coming to us from Colorado. Girlfriend, what's on your mind?
Hi, Susie. Thanks for taking my question. Right now, in addition to fully funding my retirement accounts, I invest approximately $500 a month into the stock market, but I'm disappointed in the returns. Recently, I started looking into tax lien certificates and alternative investment and wanted to know what you thought of this.
Yeah. So first of all, let me just make it easy. I don't like tax lien certificates, period. I don't even want to go there. I'm more interested in, number one, how old are you?
I'm 38.
And what is disappointing? Like how long have you been putting money into the stock market?
About 5 years.
So, and have you been putting it into mutual funds, exchange traded funds, or individual stocks?
Mutual funds.
Mutual funds. And is the mutual fund for the past 5 years that you've been putting money into, and I assume you've been doing it every single month, you've been dollar cost averaging, are you actually down money in the past 5 years, or are you even, or where are you? Why are you disappointed?
I'm roughly even on most accounts. I'm up on a couple and I'm down on a few.
And don't you think rather than getting out of the stock market altogether and go into, let's say, tax liens or these things that you were going to do, don't you think it's possible that maybe the mutual funds that you're invested in are the problem, and there might be better funds for you to switch into than to switch out of the stock market altogether? If I was 38 years of age, if I had a good 30 years left till I needed this money, oh, you betcha I would be putting money into every single month a mutual fund or an exchange traded fund, and I would actually be hoping that the market went down, down, down. So when I did put money in every single month, my money bought more shares. The more shares I got, and I accumulated over time, 20 or 30 years from now, the more money I would make when eventually it goes back up. So don't be disappointed. If anything, you need to be comparing your mutual funds that you're in to other mutual funds, and if they aren't performing for you, get out of those and transfer into some that are. But forget about tax liens. Do you hear me, Melissa?
Okay, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
All right, sweetheart, let's go back to the studio. Here's what's coming up next. Susie School. You give your creditors permission to go into your bank account and pull money out every single month to pay the bills. You shouldn't be doing it that way. Welcome back, everybody. April is Financial Literacy Month, so this month we're going back to basics with some financial fundamentals. Tonight, push and pull. What am I talking about? Many of you pay your bills online, and you give your creditors permission to go into your bank account and pull money out every single month to pay the bills. You shouldn't be doing it that way. Because let's say all of a sudden that bill is paid off, or now you change this creditor. They still have the right to go into your account until you close it down to pull the money out. What you should be doing is pushing the money out, where you give the instructions to your bank account to push money from your bank account to your creditor every single month that you want to pay online automatically. So you push it rather than them pull it. Got it? That's Financial Literacy Month lesson for now. All right, let's go to a kid question. We have Dylan on the phone. He happens to be 7 years of age. Boyfriend, what's your question?
Hi, Susie. I want to give my teacher a $50 gift card from my saved allowance when she retires. My parents said I should save my money for college. What should I do?
Well, Dylan, how much do you get in an allowance?
In my allowance, 25 cents for each chore.
So you get paid 25 cents for each chore, but yet you want to give $50 to your teacher that's about to retire from what you have in savings. How much do you have in savings, sweetheart?
$7,138.
Now, the $7,000, by the way, everybody out there that's listening to you, Dylan, all these grown-ups are going, oh my God, He's got more in savings than I have. Where did you get $7,138 if you're only making 25 cents per chore?
I got some of it from my parents because they wanted me to have a lot for college.
Yeah.
I got some of it for gifts. Some of it from the Tooth Fairy. That's it.
And would you say that on your own, of that $7,138, that you've actually worked $50 of that at 25 cents a chore? Do you think that you've done that?
Yes.
All right, Dylan, here's the truth. This is your money, is it not?
It is my money.
And don't you feel that as your money, you need to have decision-making power over what to do with your money, right?
Yes.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly do you want to give your teacher a $50 gift card from you, Dylan?
10.
10. Boyfriend, go ahead and do it. Now, you might want to give her $25. You might want to adjust it just a little bit. But if you feel this would make your heart sing because you really want to reward a teacher that's worked so hard for you, I would go ahead and do it. Up next, one more thing that I want you to know. When you give money to a kid, and now that money is in the kid's account, you can't tell that kid anymore, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't touch it. Welcome back to the Suze Orman Show. And that's almost a wrap here on the Suze Orman Show. But before we go, there is still one more thing that I want you to know. Earlier tonight, we had Dylan call in and ask. He was only 7 years of age, maybe one of the cutest callers I've ever had on this show. But anyway, he called in and he asked, could he afford to give his teacher a $50 gift card? His teacher was about to retire and he wanted to give it to her. His parents, however, wanted him to save it for college. Here's what I want all of you to understand. When you give money to a kid, and now that money is in the kid's account, you can't tell that kid anymore, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't touch it, it's got to be from some future date. Kids don't understand the future. They don't really understand college, believe it or not, and how much it's going to cost them. So if you have money that's in an account that's meant to be a college account, get it out of the kid's name. Put it in a 529 plan so they don't see it. But the money that they have in their name, they need to be able to make decisions as to what to do with that money. If you find that they're making irresponsible decisions, then limit the amount of money that goes into that account. The time to learn about making a mistake with money is when they're really young. Dylan knew exactly how much money he had in that account, down to the penny. It was his account. So of course I had to say to him he could take $50 and give it to his teacher because he knew about it. So parents, if you're giving money to children and it's in their name, it is their money. If you don't want it to be their money, don't give it to them and put it in a separate account. Now you know. But there's really only one thing that I want you to remember when it comes to your money, and it is this: people first, then money, then things. Now you stay safe. Bye-bye.